Alright, we finally did it. Beat this with a 4 ingot team. I know 4 is kind of a weird number, but to be honest, I had forgotten I had given Amidatelion 1 ingot until after I'd beaten this. So, Paladin Cecil here is basically maxed out. He's 3-3. He's got, ooh, look at that slowdown. That's not good. Oh, that's a little better. Let's see if this voiceover works or not. Look at that slowdown too. And it's a good thing this phone I'm using is only temporary. Anyways, where was I? Paladin Cecil's maxed out. He's got his burst. I actually pulled his burst before I managed to pull his LB, so that's that. He's 3-3. He's got artifacts, he's got boards, he's got everything. And Amidatelyon's at 1 out of 3, only level 70, of course. And Strago is 0-3, also at 70. And not gonna lie, I put a lot of time into finally getting a team like this that worked. Due to, well, several reasons, I suppose. So for one, this fight I felt like was a big step down in difficulty compared to some of the fights we had, especially under Onion Knight's banners. Which you'll kind of see here because there's a lot of cheese in this. But Amidatelion with a friend Onion Knight, of course there's going to be cheese. But anyways, so Strago was obviously picked due to high damage, which you didn't, I mean you kind of saw there, but it's going to get higher. Really the big challenge with this team is making sure that orb, that we don't forget about the orb. Because that thing will sneak up on you. Basically the plan here is to, for the big bird thing for A, we're going to try and burst it down at a certain point before it gets too out of hand. Because once it gets below about 49% health, it starts to get a little crazy. It gets really fast, it hits very hard, and it loves to remove all of its debuffs, and it's important to have those debuffs up there. Oh, and it buffs the heck out of itself with an HP regen of like 900,000, which is nuts. And if it gets a couple of turns like that, then your run is just done, especially if you're running a budget team like this. Which I would argue, I mean, yeah, I have a burst on Paladin Cecil, but I would argue he's still pretty budget. Felt good to beat this though, finally. I kept coming so close with so many different teams that I was glad I finally was able to beat this. Like, I didn't even try 3 and 4 ingot teams on the Onion Knight burst banners. So that would have been like Theodore's, Lufenia, Arciella's, even Onion Knights with those 2 Medusa heads, because I just knew it wasn't really going to happen due to the fact that the turn count was so low. But with this one, it was like, alright, we can probably do it, so let's give it a shot. And then when you come so close to almost beating it, you retry it. You keep retrying it, and then I finally did it. And so yeah, this took more retries than a lot of my other runs, but we did it. And this is a really clutch ending. Like, it comes really close to... I come really close to not beating this at the end. So, I pulled out Onion Knight here, because I plan on using Onion Knight's Sword and Sorcery to keep Paladin Cecil's, what would you call it? Light Enchantment up. Onion Knight's Sword and Sorcery is going to give free uses of that ability. Hence why I pulled him out so early. Which might seem a bit unusual, but that's what the idea with that was. And then Onion Knight's, of course, going to give Amidatelion free Mega Flares and free ability restores. Or free? Yeah, that's probably the right way to say it. I gave Amidatelion 1 ingot a long time ago when I was trying to use Amidatelion to beat a stage, and then just ended up not using Amidatelion. Amidatelion, I kept at actually base EX. I didn't even realize Amidatelyon's EX for a very long time because Amidatelyon's so stupidly powerful, even without ingots. Like, I mean, you can kind of see now, Amidatelyon's still ditching out a ton of damage and cheesing the enemies quite hard. So here I was trying to decide whether to use a Mega Flare or use an ability restore, and I picked the Mega Flare for reasons I don't entirely remember off the top of my head. That's kind of funny. Oh, because of the orb, that's why. Haha. Yeah, because using Amidatelyon's ability restore would have knocked the orb down. And so here I have to decide if I'm gonna be able to burst the orb down, which did end up happening, so I didn't necessarily need to use a Holy Flame there and heal, because I could have just used a Saint's Fall instead. But whatever. Didn't want to take so many risks due to the fact that I had retried this as many times as I had. And so now we're gonna continue to use Onion Knight's Sword and Sorcery to give Amidatelion more Mega Flares one way or another, so either directly or indirectly. I think I originally ran this with a Ramza friend, and while the Ramza friend did do more damage than the Onion Knight friend, due to all the launching, as long as you don't pull the Ramza friend out too late in the battle, really the turn count didn't come that close. What came close was the need to cheese the boss and prevent the boss from getting turns, and so I switched from the Amidatelion friend from the Ramza friend to the Onion Knight friend in order to give Amidatelion more Mega Flares for more cheese, because that's what was needed. Damage wasn't as needed as much as cheese was. Now, actually, on that note, I probably could have done this with an Amidatelion friend, because Onion Knight only gives Amidatelion 3 extra Mega Flares, so to speak, whereas an Amidatelion friend would have been 5 turns of cheese, but would have been less damage, and no additional burst on a friend. So, who knows, it's probably possible. I'm not going to run another budget run here on here again. Or if I do, it's not going to be 4 ingots. I might try some other cheesy methods, like Leon works really well for this battle due to the fact that the big bird only has non-elemental attacks and a dark attack, and that's it. The Maria Mannequin has 1 brave attack that's a wind elemental, but then that's it. You just have to be careful of the Maria Mannequin's recast, because she batteries herself for like a ton of brave. I think it's like 30,000 or some ridiculously high number like that. We're getting Jack's debuff on here, because at this point we're going to do our best to make sure that bird doesn't get any more turns. Oh, the slowdown. Slowdown should only be for another couple of recordings, and then I'll get a better phone back again. So let me think. I pulled the burst out here because I wanted Onion Knight's burst to still be in effect for these burst turns that Paladin Cecil is taking. And I also wanted to use Paladin Cecil's burst to get an extra turn of the light enchantment for the party, because all the ally enchantment is coming from Paladin Cecil. So I had to make sure I took advantage of Paladin Cecil's ability to do that as much as I could. Saint's Falls are probably a little better at battering than Holy Flames are, so that's why I've been using them. But it's also important to be mindful of Paladin Cecil's buffs on himself. You don't want to stick to only Saint's Fall or only Holy Flame too much, and then the buffs fall off. You'd really have to not be paying attention to do that, but it is possible. And that's actually kind of bad. Anything under 800,000 is really not that great for Paladin Cecil's burst phase, but Paladin Cecil's abilities aren't really that powerful, so you're not using Paladin Cecil's burst for that. I would argue there's definitely better bursts to get out there and to use than Paladin Cecil's, but is what it is. At least with Strago, he does really well under burst effects due to the really high damage potential he has, which I didn't really get to show off in this video due to the fact that I had to swap out Strago for Onion Knight in order to give Amidatelion extra Mega Flares. But just know that's a thing. Oh, the slowdown. I apologize. Just speed up the YouTube video, I guess. Even though I might sound a little funny, but... oh well. I speed up most of my YouTube videos. Pretty much everyone on YouTube who I watch at high speed. Some higher than others. But, is what it is. So let's see. We're gonna Saint's Fall because there's no orb, so we don't care about healing just yet. Oh, somebody else who... some other, I don't know if I'd call them budget, but older units to look at in case you didn't want to pull on the recent units, I suppose? I don't know. But General Leo was a big consideration. My Leo's 3-3, so it wouldn't necessarily keep the ingot count down. I might actually run this, or I might actually try a couple of videos of no level 80 units, see if I can do that. If I do end up doing that, then I will definitely be bringing Leo, as Leo heals, so you'll also be able to tick the orb. At least I think so. I don't think HP regeneration actually brings the orb back up, but healing on the ability itself does, like Rem's Cure would reset the orb. So, why summon? Because I wanted to get Strago's Grand Deltas out under summon, and it was a good time to start using Grand Deltas. If I can get the Yukish Ultima under summon, that helps, because Yukish Ultima tends to hit its cap. But I didn't, and it wasn't a big deal. I shouldn't say it wasn't a big deal. The end of this comes so stupidly close that, like, pretty much everything's a big deal. We use Light Enchantment, not one of the free uses, and the reason for that is because I want to get Paladin Cecil's Crystal buff to run out at about the same time as the Light Enchantment runs out. Because from pretty much here on out, I'm going to be using Paladin Cecil's LD, the free skill from Paladin Cecil's LD, in order to keep the Light Enchantment up. So unfortunately I lose a turn of Paladin Cecil's Burst for that, but what can you do? Can't do everything perfect to the T. I mean, I guess you can, but I'm not meticulous enough. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I EX here. Nope, I'm gonna Grand Delta again. So another reason to keep Grand Deltaing is to push the Big Bird back. Because the Big Bird, we don't want the Big Bird taking turns for two reasons. One, at the Big Bird's recast, it removes all of its debuffs, which sucks because we've got some good debuffs there. It's important to have a lot of those debuffs. And if I run out, if I use all of Amidatilion's Mega Flares, I'm not going to get those debuffs on there anyways. So we don't want the Big Bird to take turns. Another reason is it's going to buff itself heavily. I think I already talked about its 90,000 or 60,000, some ginormous number of healing that it does. That, with a budget team like this, is just if it gets a turn or two off with that healing, then this team's just done. It won't be able to pump out the damage to compete with it. So I need to make sure that bird doesn't give itself its buffs, which it won't do until after it's recast. But so spoiler alert, it's going to take a turn or two. But I need to do my best to make sure that doesn't happen, because I also want to keep Jack's debuff on there. So commenting when we can. There's some good pizza. So for Paladin Cecil, we used his LD because I want to make sure that Light Enchantment doesn't run off. I mean, it's a good time to use it anyways. Here we're going to use Strago's EX to re-add his Regained Hope buff, which was about to fall off. And it's a good buff for him to have. So why keep Amidatelion or Strago from being 3-3? well, it's probably not a good idea to. Amidatelion still works out because she's so stupidly powerful. The only thing, let me think, her 1 out of 3 ingot only adds some attack and some max brave, really not even that much. Although, I know I keep talking about the end of this fight, but it comes so close that I think if Amidatelion were at 0 out of 3 and not 1 out of 3, then I wouldn't have beaten this. Let me think, her second, I don't even remember what 2 out of 3 her second ingot does. So it does what it does. But then her third ingot makes her Yukish Ultima a lot more powerful, and as you can see, it's already really powerful, so it's kind of not necessary. You'll see right here. I mean, it doesn't do 99,999, but, you know, 85,000? Come on. There's better places to spend ingots. Was kind of why I originally left Amidatelion not at 3-3. I mean, if you're going to... If you're tight for ingots, which I'm not anymore, and I don't know if anybody's tight for ingots anymore, so maybe budget runs shouldn't be lacking in ingots. Maybe I should do feature budget runs with C70 characters or something, I don't know. Nobody really knows. I mean, there is still a section. Is there a section for budget? I know Macnell's been going back and forth at the City Info about how to define budget runs as well. I mean, you could kind of say character boards. Maybe not maxed character boards units could be budget characters anymore. I don't really know. I mean, I have character board points coming out of my ears at this point. They've been just so plentiful. Part of that could have been the 3-month hiatus I took after Kuja's LD came out. So that's why you don't see like Lightning or Cloud here, because I don't have them. I took a 3-month sort of break after pulling Kuja's LD, and then I was like, I'm just bored with this game. And then played some other games, and now I'm back. Came back right at the end of Guy's banner, so unfortunately I missed out on Rams's LD, because that would have been a great LD for me to have. Alright, so back to the battle. This is when things start to get really close, because, like, as you can see, that bird it gets really, really fast. We're at 19%. I think it resummoned its mannequin at 29%. But Amidatelion has a bunch of Mega Flares, so that's helpful. But yeah, you can see this bird is taking a turn for every 2 turns I get, basically, with my team, due to not having any speed up. I mean, I guess, RCL and Kefka are really good for this as well, if you want to do some cheesing. Is RCL's banner even still up? I think so. RCL is such a great unit. I had her at budget for a while, but I eventually just 3-3'd her because, I don't remember why, I think to help with Theodore's Lufenia. Actually, oh, I remember why. To help with the TCC challenge on Theodore's Lufenia. So yes, I 3-3 and gooded somebody just for that, but I mean, it was RCL. Was it really that bad to 3-3 her? Like Amidatelion, RCL is extremely good at 0-3 even, but she's kind of lacking on damage, and giving RCL ingots absolutely helps with her damage. So I feel like you get a bigger bang for your buck giving RCL ingots than, say, Amidatelion, who has no problems with damage, even at 0-3 or 1-3. But 0-3 she'll have a little bit of problems, but doesn't have the same as big of a problem as RCL did. Strago already hits very hard. Giving Strago his first ingot just ups his stats, and by a good amount, and upping Strago's attack and max brave is certainly a good thing to do. The second ingot does almost nothing for Strago. It gives him a buff at the beginning of the battle that he just gets anyways from one of his skills. Talk about a waste of an ingot. And then the third ingot, I think, doubles the hits on his EX, which is good, but you have to invest 2 ingots to even get there in the first place. So, yeah. Things are really close at this point. So, obviously this isn't a live commentary, but if so, like, I was on the edge of my seat here, because I was like, oh man, I'm running out of Mega Flares, this bird's about to get its turn, is it going to kill me? Right when it gets its turn, I mean, it doesn't have its recast up. Yeah, look at that, like, 6%. I'd never gotten this close in previous runs before. I'm getting close to running out of Paladin Cecil's enchant buff, party enchant buff. Having no problems with the orb, but man, you know, things are getting so close. I'm running out of Strago's skills. Paladin Cecil's enchantment fell off there because I was not paying attention, and so I was like, well, I'm not going to use a Quasar. I guess I'll throw a Brave to death on him. Amidatilion's out of skills, which is fine because I have a bunch of Comets left, and Comet's still... Ugh, gotta get that enchantment back up, but Comet still hits harder than HP plus, I guess. That is actually something Amidatelion gets from her third ingot, is HP plus plus and Brave plus plus, which do a lot better than Amidatelyon's current Brave plus and HP plus. But, I mean, look at the number of Comets I still have. Are you really Brave plusing or HP plusing that much with Amidatelion? Oh, this is so close. So we're down to 2%. And so I'm like, this is the point where it hit me like, oh my god, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to beat this. We'll throw the Comet down. Still at 2%. Alright, didn't quite get down to 1%. Paladin Force might do it here. Like, and I'm like, I'm trying to prepare for if it doesn't happen. Alright, Strago's going to get broken. You know, I could have Holy Flame to try and buff Strago, but whatever. And this happens. It removes all its debuffs, it buffs itself, and its recast is now full, and it has enough Brave. Yeah, see, this is why I broke it, because I was like, if I get hit by that recast, we're all dead, or I won't hit the HP threshold. And, like, I was like, this might be enough to bring it down from 1%, and that wasn't. So, now this is basically do or die. Like, if this Yukish Ultima doesn't kill it, then the run's basically done, because I won't be able to hit the HP threshold. And it did it. Like, that was really close. I was on the edge of my seat. I was so happy when this was finally beaten. I know I don't sound like I'm jumping for joy, but I was jumping for joy when I ran this. So finally, 4 ingot team does it. And I think I'm going to go to Amidatilion's page here. Or not page, but we'll go into Amidatelion stats real quick just to show you I'm at 1 ingot, and then Strago's at 0 ingots. I hate that. More clicking. So Amidatelion has 1 ingot. This is when I realized Amidatelion was at 1 ingot. Up at this point I thought I was running only 3. Strago's sphere